sun is numb, the Keurig's clean, your dog is dead, it's a Ponzi screen. Ponzi screen, Ponzi screen, because it's just something to do.
This
All right,
week on Ponzi screen.
How many teenagers have had sex with their friends' moms? Go.
All right, David Bradley Eisenberg, thank you for reminding me of Stacy's mom. I haven't heard that song in years, if ever. And but you reminded me about journalistic integrity and why we do this show. We ask the hard-hitting questions like why or how many Americans have had sex with their high school friends' moms.
And there's a question of abibophilia versus pedophilia as well.
Huge question.
How many prepubescent boys have slept with their friends' moms?
Yeah.
Dude,
versus post-pubescent.
that was like a mid-2000s thing. That was like right there where they're just like, wouldn't it be fucking awesome if you got to fuck your friend's hot mom? And it's like, no, I'm pretty sure it would be statutory rape.
I mean, American Pie rode that joke until the wheels came off.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Stifler's mom. Yeah.
You bet.
Too much, man. It was too much. I love that actress. I can't remember her name, but I think she's one of the funniest comedic actresses. But
Yeah.
not.
Sure. Also, she's going to be known for that forever. Well, you grew up in a really nice gated community. The water was great. You know,
Everyone's just fucking hot. You know,
they had good diets. A lot of women who didn't have to work full-time jobs. They all had tennis coaches.
That's right.
Working on their gams and their glutes all day long.
You know me, baby. Also,
A lot of cardio.
Also, they were all they were all like stepmoms. They weren't real moms because the real moms got too ugly for the rich dads. You know.
Wow. Yeah. Trophies.
There are some trophies.
So-
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, I, dude, you just keep reminding me of like that aesthetic. I mean, it's going to be a little bit different for Gabe, but like the mid 2000s, early 2000s aesthetic as a teenager. God, I fucking hate that now. God, it sucks. So I would so much rather prefer that 90s early 90s teenager aesthetic, because it kind of understood. It was like, yeah, it's kind of dorky, but whatever, you know, our clothes don't fit right and everything's kind of weird and baggy, but whatever. Mid 2000s, just the absolute, just like so terrible, the zenith of being of awful. I hate it so much. I hate it.
The zenith of being awful.
Yes.
Have you ever thought that maybe you're the zenith of being awful?
Okay. All right.
So
all right,
cheap.
Dave. All right, David.
No.
I thought I thought we agreed. I thought we agreed on no low blows. All right.
No, man. I mean, you know, we're just not teens anymore. You know, things that we used to like when we were teens, we can't like anymore. But I think that I'm having a real Sublime comeback. Like I really, and I really started listening to Sublime again more recently, and that's
Just shut the fuck up, man. Just stop it right now.
I like them. I liked them a lot as a child, as a teenager, and now they're coming back for me, and it's resonating a lot. I don't know what else to say. Started listening to Led Zeppelin. I listened to Led Zeppelin like 4 months ago. That was really fun.
That's fine. It's fine. It's
Dude, I
rock.
listened to Sublime yesterday cleaning my room. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I had a great
okay.
time. I know it was the wrong way, but I had to do it.
Oh.
All right. We need to chill your jets here. Nobody's making fun of any of a 13-year-old listening to Kashmir and then listening to it again when you're 31 and being like, hey, that was good. Hey, yeah, this is
Down
pretty
in
good.
Mississippi, where the sun beats down from the sky. They give it up and they give it up and they give it up and they never ask what. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, they put out a lot of. I mean, they put out a lot of albums in like 2 years, 3 years. They did one. Is that Led Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, and 4? I think in like over the course of like 4 years, and now.
Yeah, I love that Led Zeppelin album, 40 Ounces to Freedom. That was
Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna come over to your house and murder you.
I like when Led Zeppelin would bring their Dalmatian on stage to dance with them.
Ugh. You know what? You know what? I'll still take it. I'll still take that cultural moment over 2003. Let's wear the worst pants that have ever been invented. Like, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. There was something very gaudy and gross about 2000s pop culture. Like, as soon as we got to the Spike Tips era and how, like, The Fabulous Life of was probably the most popular TV show, you know, we were in trouble. I think that we knew that was, we should have known that the financial crisis was going to come.
Yeah, I mean, who was the most important cultural icon of the early aughts? Was it Paris Hilton at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And Ashton Kutcher was like, I'm fucking poor. Like, his whole thing was like, I wear trucker hats and I'm gonna prank people. Like, that was his whole aesthetic. I don't know. He was just making, I feel like he was very reactionary. He's just making fun of poor people a lot.
Dude, you can't prank people anymore in a conventional way, because the Gen Z, like, they will prank the fuck out of you beyond all reason. Like, before, they're just like, oh, we're gonna impound Frankie Muniz's car. It's gonna be lit. And now the Gen Z people are like pulling guns on like grandmothers and being like, "Ha, psych, psych, I'm crazy, psych." You know,
Grand Theft Auto school shooter pranks. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Just fun for the whole family. I personally can't stand pranks as a form of humor, and I just, because I've been asked to, you know, I've been invited to do podcasts or radio shows, and then they'll call somebody out of the blue and be like, okay, do a voice now, like, fool this person. And it's like, dude, why? What, who does this help if I like harass some, you know, customer service drone on the other end of the line?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, pranking sucks.
Just a normal person. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and like crank yankers. Ugh. Remember
Totally,
that show?
dude. I just,
come on.
So, I mean, whatever. There are so many people out there that love that type of stuff, but I can't abide by just like tricking some normal person in the middle of their day.
Yeah.
Trying to make a buck.
Yeah. Like, hey, capitalism in life is horrible. Let's make it worse, bitch. Let's just do it.
It's and they're trying to bring, like, they tried to bring back crank anchors. They were like, again, mid-2000s slop. That was like Comedy Central's absolute main dish in 2004 was crank anchors. And they're just sort of like, you guys, we gotta get Dave Attell back on the phones. Like, we gotta bring and it's like, look, all right, whatever. I'm nostalgic for it in the sense that I witnessed it as a 14-year-old. We do not need to rehash this. We simply do not.
We have enough out there. Sizzle chest already exists. I love sizzle chest. We can keep using that term. That was the Jerky Boys would call people sizzle chest. When they were calling like plumbers and making them feel bad.
Okay, you got to fill me in, man. I don't know what a sizzle chest is.
That's just what you call somebody. You just say,
look, my toilet's all backed up. You need to come over here now, okay, Sizzle Chest? How much is it going to cost for you guys to come over here and fix hold on a second. How many? Shut up, Marie. 5 toilets. You think you can make it over here? In 45 minutes, we got 5 toilets backed up. Oh, my God. Chili cook-off last week was, I'm still suffering from it. So's Marie and the kids and the Dalmatian. All right, Sizzle Chest.
Okay, now you're getting into the Longmont Potion Castle territory, which I think is chaotic neutral. Do you guys know Longmont Potion Castle?
I've never heard of it, and I can't wait for you to school me.
Y'all are just making up phrases now.
No.
I can do that too, man. I can do that. Like
no.
Purple
There's
surfboard, crazy town.
Oh shit! Purple surfboard, Crazy Town sounds like the best SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all just making things up now. All right.
You gotta once you go from crank anchors, which is just sort of like, I'm gonna be snarky and weird about this. Then you go to Longmont Potion Castle, which is still this unknown guy. People do not know who it is.
Right.
And
indeed.
he will like call these like hotlines, but he just kind of like keeps them on the phone, and it's just kind of weird. Like he's not mean to them.
Hello, this is Nick.
My name's Trinidad. I'm with UPS. And I've
Okay.
been trying to do a delivery here since Friday, and no one's picked up or answered the doorbell.
Your name is Trinidad
Yes.
at UPS. Oh, I'm here.
This is on dry ice, and it's COD $88.28 here today.
Oh, I think you might have the wrong address.
This is Harry, or
Yeah, my name is Nick Harrington.
there you go.
You have something that's on ice?
It's Tasmanian syrup on dry
Weird.
ice.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I hear that all the time.
And honestly, if I was a customer service person, like, dude, if I don't have a quota, I don't care. I'd rather be talking to a weirdo than be talking to somebody who would be like yelling at me because like
My Internet Explorer isn't working.
like dude, give me like this guy like I'll throw in a Longmont Potion Castle in the edit, and you guys will love it.
Okay.
Hell yeah. I like that we still don't know who he is. He's the Banksy of pranking people.
Yeah.
So he's like kind of like doing like just like making people feel uncomfortable. Like he's like kind of like a Nathan For You, but pranking.
He's
like-
like a mix between Nathan For You and Eric Andre for sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get down with that. All right.
Yeah. Eric Andre is the only person who's allowed to prank anymore because he's literally taking his own life into his hands.
Yeah.
he goes up to Harlem and then like hides in a trash can and then jumps out at people. Like it's like, all right, bro, you're doing you.
Yeah, that's the tightrope walk that I really need to see in all pranks.
I do like mid 2000s pranking. Was just Bam pranking his dad. That was just still. We've brought this up before. But that was actually funny.
I'm Bam Margera, and I feel like kicking my dad's ass all day today.
Come on, man. I gotta go to work. Jerk off. Stop it. Come on, I gotta go to hell to work one time. Will you stop it? Stop it. Hey, you hit me in the nuts.
Anyways, hey, welcome to Ponzi Scream. What's up? What's
You know,
up?
pranking is its own form of financial fraud if
Yeah.
you really think about it.
Speaking of pranking, the Securities and Exchange Commission today pranked.
Yeah.
No, let's
The
start with
Securities and Exchange Commission, they pranked the American public. Psych.
Psych.
Yeah.
So let's start with something good though. Let's start with puppy scams. We love them. We love to see them. Everyone's putting on their Instagram and their Twitter about puppies. I for one just got a puppy, and I can tell you, there's been all puppies are scams. All puppies are scams. The whole thing.
You're just you. The reason David put this article in our article bank is literally because he was triggered because he is now a puppy owner. He's very triggered because of this.
I woke up at 6 a.m. to clean up 2 poops this morning. So
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
The whole,
Hell yeah. So, your puppy's like it's the size of a football, but it's just dropping these Marmaduke level, just radioactive dumps.
Yeah, it is just dropping off 2 more footballs. Just
It's like, this is the same size as you. How did you do that?
Yeah.
Twice.
when you're a puppy, you reproduce asexually. So you just
Of course.
yeah. So apparently, because of COVID, everyone's lonely. I just got a puppy because I am a little bit of a pain piggy myself. But the Better Business Bureau apparently reported that there have been 337 complaints about puppy scams, compared to 77 in 2019.
That's so adorable. If you just add
November.
puppy to the beginning of anything, it sounds better, right? Like when I first heard the term puppy mill, I was like, ooh, I want to work at a puppy mill.
Is this like a new cereal that's really delicious? Puppy Mills?
Yeah.
Ugh. Ooh, it's a puppy mill.
Yeah, but then you hear about what a puppy mill is, and it's sad.
It's
sad.
pretty sad.
All puppies are just coming from the puppy mill, and, you know. So what's been going on with these puppy scams is apparently people are trying to get puppies online, and they're trying because everyone's sad and alone and has nothing else to do, and so they want to make their life worse, so they get a puppy, and
Yes.
that is they order them online usually, and people just say, "Send me the money up front." And then they just don't send them the puppy.
Fucking
That's-
awesome, dude.
That's
Yeah.
the whole scam.
Well, don't be stupid and try to order an animal online like it's Zappos. This isn't shoes, baby.
Yeah.
You got to go out there and you got to go kidnap 2 dogs, 1 male, 1 female. Sorry, they can't be non-binary. You got to find one of each. You got to bring them to your apartment.
Dogs.
You got to fucking crush up some Blue Chew, which you do order online. And then you lace their Alpo with that, and then you watch them hump. You videotape that. You sell the humping tapes. People want that. You make a little cream. Then the byproduct of that is you've got puppies now, and they're probably mutts because you kidnap 2 different strains of dog, which means they're going to be hardier. They're going to have good immune systems. Not like these French bulldogs that need to be sucked out of the lady's womb via C-section and have sleep apnea the rest of their lives.
And they get mold in their folds.
Okay, we don't have. We don't need to talk about. No. We don't need to talk about the mold in the folds anymore. All right.
Mold in the fold. Mold in the fold.
No.
Purple surfboard.
I have a question for you. How many? And you tell me if I'm wrong. How many people? What do you think the percentage is of people who have fallen for this, whose net income is like $15,000 or less? Because I'm willing to say it's maybe like 0%.
Yeah,
this is a rich person scam for sure, right?
This is a Nexium scam. This is like that level of income bracket for sure. The majority of the reports are for undelivered puppies, especially for Yorkshire Terriers and French Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the AOC dog and the Yorkshire Terrier. I mean, these are toy dogs. Speaking of toy dogs, my puppy, everyone, folks, welcome to Ponzi Scream. Here's my dog barking in the background.
Do you know how much a French bulldog costs? Because I do.
No, how much?
At minimum $2,500.
Holy shit, Phoebe, you're worth fucking nothing.
Yeah.
You're bullshit.
Are you kidding, dude? Are you kidding
bullshit.
me? Dude, beagle mixes, honestly, beagles are kind of like a cursed dog because they use them in animal testing because they eat anything.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So like, yeah, they are pretty inexpensive. This is, I mean, do they even specify like, oh, I'll meet you in your local municipality?
No,
are they
literally just say, send us the money via Cash App and we'll mail you the dog. That's what these puppy scams are doing.
And then they even say things like, "There's nannies. We'll have a nanny bring the dog. Like we'll escort the dog to the airport."
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I really don't want to blame the victim. I do. I mean, okay, I will with this. But I mean, I feel like this does sort of like kind of traipse into your computer has been hacked. You now need to give us $3,000 situation.
Yes.
Like
this is the Nigerian prince of scams. Like it's so flagrant.
Like I feel like there is this subset of not marketing, but just sort of empathy that's coursing through the internet. That's just being like, no, you need to feel bad if some person is like, oh no, your computer's been hacked. Now you need to give us $5,000, and your initial instinct as a human is to be like, oh God, better give him five racks. I just don't understand. Like, I mean, are you not a curious person? Do you just walk into the rain and just say like, it wasn't raining yesterday. I don't know how it's supposed to rain today. Like, I just don't. Why would you give somebody thousands of dollars?
A lot of people are getting scammed for only like $400 or whatever, because some dogs aren't like Phoebe was $500. She's fucking nothing. Like some dogs don't cost shit. Apparently, the Better Business Bureau said that total losses from pet scams this year is supposed to be $3.1 million. Huge increase.
Shit.
Huge increase since 2017 when consumer groups said it was $448,000. So, I don't know. That's a 6 times increase, a 6-fold increase. Huge increase.
Look, even with that's such a small drop in the bucket for all of the money that is generated through black market or cartel activity. Like this dog scam cartel is only making $3 million?
3-ish.
Yeah.
Right? So, they got a lot of overhead. They got to pay. Yeah.
It's really expensive to get a stock image of a dog online. I mean, it's just that's a lot of that's at least 3 million right there.
Yeah. I don't know why people don't understand this. It's like getting an eccentric dog breed or a dog. It's always the same process. You got to go to some weird fucking town, potentially in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking Forks, Washington, Allentown, Pennsylvania, fucking like Bloomington, Indiana, and then you got to talk to some weird person who lives on a quasi farmish situation, Bangor, Maine, and just talk to them about their dogs for an hour, and you physically see the animal, you get weirded out, and then you go back to where you're from. Then you guys talk about how much you're going to pay for it, and then you go back to Bangor, Maine, buy it, and then get the fuck out of there as fast as possible.
Danny, it's a very tactile experience. It's like when I go to the store to go buy cantaloupes, I got to grab each cantaloupe. I got to hold each cantaloupe. I got to squeeze them. And that's what I want from a puppy mill is I want a big pyramid of writhing puppies, all desperately looking for a mother's attention. And then I grab and grope each one of them to see which one has just the right blend between soft and hard skull.
Yeah, you want a ripe puppy? Okay.
Yeah.
You want a ripe little puppy.
You need to be speaking to a woman who has not talked to another soul since 1984, like who has only communicated through her estranged son to get groceries from the nearest college town to which those groceries are delivered, and she is like the proprietary owner of like the purest Pekingese or French bulldogs or Shih Tzu mixes in like the greater New England area. Like that is how you buy a dog, generally speaking.
Yeah, what I've heard from people is the only real way, if you're going to get a dog from a breeder, you want to get a breeder who's going to reject you.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to convert to Judaism and they're a rabbi. Like you must be rejected 3 times by the dog breeder. I've been looking up like dog mom t-shirts. I don't know if you guys have seen some of these like dog mom t-shirts that are available on like Etsy and stuff. There's like it gets so crazy. Some of them are like the little voices in my head keep telling me to get more dogs. There's a picture of like a bunch of puppies in the shape of a skull that I found. There's another one that says dogs and coffee make me feel less murdery.
See, that's even a farce because they're not even buying the shirts. They are making their own shirts. They are getting transfer paper from their printer, putting it onto a Kohl's branded sweater, and then poorly ironing it on, so it looks burnt in certain areas, and it just says like dog or just like Bessie or whatever its name is.
Dude, a homemade like dog like psycho dog mom shirt is the scariest thing I could ever imagine. Like you're like engraving Comic Sans into a wood blocker. That is psychopathic behavior. That is you need to call the police, not the Better Business Bureau. God.
I wouldn't say this is a good guy kind of thing, although it does traipse into the sort of like quasi movie pass-esque, kind of territory where it's just sort of like, I don't think people should get stolen from, but I do like reappropriating the very rich's the wealthy classes wealth to
Yeah.
scammers.
I would watch
probably poor
a
people.
Catch Me As You Can film following a young, spry Leonardo DiCaprio-esque actor who is scamming wealthy people by, pretending to sell them French bulldogs. I would watch that.
It's a very Robin Hood-esque ethos, if you will.
This is, you know what? I would be willing to bet that this is mostly affecting I'm going to take a gander and say this is maybe affecting the class of people 20 years old to like 40 years old. I don't think an elderly person, they're doing the Gabe tactic. They're cantaloping the puppies, you know. This is anyone who's like fallen for the Cash App scam, you know, like Cash App me $500 and I'll give you a dog.
I'll send one in the mail.
Yeah, send money in the mail. Send money in the mail. But good dovetail into our next topic.
Before we get
is it an app where we can buy puppies?
It is about Robinhood Financial, which is an app where you can buy the VHS copy of Disney's Robin Hood for $9.99 on VHS, and that's the whole app. That you can just
not
buy
gonna lie, huge fan of Kevin Costner's Robin Hood.
Yeah.
This tracks. I can believe that. Yeah.
With shout outs to co-stars Morgan Freeman and Christian Slater in that film.
I want to say one quick thing though about Robin Hood, the historic character, the historic figure. Because people on the right try to appropriate him, and I think it's important that we clap back, because Robin Hood was actually stealing from the tax collector in medieval England. Did you guys know that?
I thought he was stealing from the sheriff of Nottingham, so he was actively defunding the police.
Yeah.
Yes.
Respect. I think he was actually stealing from. I think maybe he was both. I'm not really sure, but I've seen right-wing people being like, Robin Hood was actually stealing from the tax collector, which means the government, you know, Ronald Reagan is Robin Hood, is kind of what they're trying to say.
I can't say I've heard of the rich really trying to appropriate him too much, but I believe you for sure that there's going to be some absolutely pea-brained kind of like takes on what that is. That's
he's an. I think that we have to contextualize. If that's true, first off, I like Gabe's interpretation. Second off, if it's true that he was stealing from tax collectors and giving to the poor, this just shows when the state fails, you have to have crime take into account. When the state's not working, this is a feudal monarchy. It's not like it's exactly like a welfare state.
No. I know what it is, David. The right wing, they think he's a libertarian. The libertarians love Robin. The libertarians love Robin Hood because he's stopping their taxation without representation. That's it. That's got to be it. Yeah.
So I don't think that that's fair to say. It's just saying the state isn't working. Robin Hood is the only thing that's making people get their needs met in the time. And also, at the time, capital and state were the same thing. Like, the king was also the richest man in the land. Like, so there was no division between, there was no capitalist class that was, like, adversarial to the government. It was just the dude who had the money and the army. And that was one thing. And so if you're stealing from the tax collector, I mean...
Well, the kingdom wasn't doing anything for the people with the money. It wasn't like they were taking the taxes and then setting up free breakfast programs for all the Hamlet kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not like Robin Hood was stealing from like the IRS and giving back to like the small business owners of the forest, you know?
Yeah.
He
The Hamlets
stealing
weren't like
from the welfare queens. He was stealing from the Queen of England. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. The welfare queen of England.
Yeah.
Yeah. Point being, Robin Hood. What is it? We're talking about not the feudal 16th, 15th century Myth? Real guy?
No, we're talking about a disruptive app that's changing the face of investing to help welcome millennials into our financial system.
For everyone. So Robinhood Financial, if you are, listen to this podcast, you probably have a Robinhood app. There's not an unreasonable chance. And it is an app that is basically like E-Trade or Ameritrade or Schwab. It's just, you don't have to have any money, really. You can just have $5 and you can invest in the stock market with it. And Robinhood is a platform that lets you do that. It's a brokerage service.
David, tell me if I'm wrong with this, because I have a Robinhood app, and I think the idea why Robinhood is so attractive to millennials and just younger people in general is the fact that there's no fees essentially for trading.
Yeah.
So like my understanding of stock trading in the past is that like in the 90s or 2000s or whatever, you were a person who was like, okay, I'm going to invest in the financial market or whatever. And then you talk to a guy, and then and you say to that guy, I want 5 shares of whatever, Ford.
And he takes a cut.
Yes.
Because
he charges
because he's
you.
doing a job.
So
A real job.
Yeah.
of pulling a lever for you, right? Like it's
is.
a real estate agent, people who do real jobs.
But doesn't he have some sort of legal or fiduciary response? I don't know. Does the guy, the trader for you, has some laws that he has to follow?
That's what this is all about, man. Like Robinhood has grown huge. People has become very, very popular with millennials, especially like the average age is like 31 or something like that. The average, or 34, the average investor in Robinhood. They got 3 million new customer accounts. I think, the last quarter of 2019, they saw a tenfold increase in net deposits as millions of people were losing their jobs. I'm trying to get the right statistic. 3 new customers. By June, it was doing 4.3 million daily average revenue trades.
Buddy.
More than any other online form, more than Schwab and E-Trade combined. Okay, so a lot of people are getting into it.
So let's paint a psychological picture of what's going on here, right? Okay. The entire economy falls apart. All of these young people entering the job market, getting shellacked, getting schlonged by the pandemic. But maybe they're getting that extra $600 a week in pandemic money. Maybe they got that extra $1,200. They got a severance package. Who knows? They got this money, but what are they going to do with it? Then their boomer parents are like, you know what you got to do? You got to invest. And they go, I don't know how to invest. And they go on YouTube and they're binging YouTube like in fucking videos. And in between every video they watch, there's a different guy selling some bullshit supplement like, it's mud. It's a drink like coffee, but it's not coffee to keep you up, whatever. And then the next video is like, hey, have you thought about investing? Well, check it out. No fees, no frills. Just download this app. Robinhood.
Yes. Yeah,
Robinhood.
They've been big advertisers in that realm. They have been very big advertisers in the podcast realm. I listen to dozens of podcasts a week, and I can tell you I've heard several Robinhood.
These people are getting venture capital money from like Sequoia Financial, Google's venture capital arm, and Ribbit Capital. I mean, these are some of the biggest VC firms in Silicon Valley. They're all getting all this VC money and they're pouring it into advertisements on cool podcasts. So dumb young millennials like us can listen to it. The thing is, the whole no fee is pretty misleading, because no broker dealer gives a fee. They take a cut off the top of your earnings. So they're not offering. No broker has ever. That's the whole point of being a broker, is you don't offer a fee. It's kind of like it's like one of these like commission-based pro bono attorneys where like you don't have to pay them by the hour, but they're going to take a cut of whatever settlement you get.
It's like your agent. It's like they're your agent.
It's like your agent. Yeah, an agent is a much easier way of comparing it. Okay, whereas what you guys are all thinking of is what's called an investment advisor, where an investment advisor has a fiduciary duty. Okay, so they have to provide the best possible financial advice, at no interest to themselves. Okay, and they actually charge a fee. Okay, so
Yeah.
Robinhood is not a registered investment advisor. They are a registered broker. They're a registered brokerage service, registered broker dealer, basically. So there are rules, though, that broker dealers still have to abide by. Okay, in the finance world, one of the biggest regulatory changes of the Trump administration was implementing this new rule called regulation best interest. We've talked about this before. This is when a broker dealer now has, perhaps, depending on how it looks, depending on how it plays out, perhaps has a slightly higher duty to its customers. You have to be a little bit, you can't openly suggest to them like the most conflicted, products available.
Risky
stuff that's just like clearly like basically like scamming them, right?
Look, you got to invest in these puppy mills and whoopistics.
Yeah.
These puppy mills that are owned by me. Oh, don't worry. My last name is Puppy Mill, but don't worry about that. That's a coincidence. So that's what the broker dealer system has been like going through for the past 4 years. There's also another rule, which is what Robinhood got in trouble with last year with FINRA. FINRA, this is getting into the weeds. FINRA is we've talked about FINRA before. They're like a private regulator, basically.
Self-policing.
They're a self-policing organization. They're like the American Bar Association, but they have actual regulatory power over broker dealers. They fined Robinhood $1.25 million right around now last year, actually, almost to the day. And then this year, and the reason why, before I get to this year, the reason why they fined them is this other rule. In addition to having the broker dealer has some duty to its customers. One of them, they don't have the fiduciary duty like the investment advisor, right? But they do have something called best execution. Okay? This is where Robinhood gets in trouble. And this is what gets to the core of Robinhood's business model. Okay? Robinhood alleges that they don't charge any fees. I think they may even say 0 commissions. Okay.
Wow. What's the catch? Is anything actually free out there?
This sounds like it's perfect. They are just good Samaritans. What they do is they basically sell your trade to somebody else who buys it at an elevated price, aggregates it, and with other trades from Robinhood, and uses that and sells it elsewhere. And they basically have your trade, especially if it's like an options trade, which is like when a certain event happens, you automatically get a choice to do something. That's what an options trade is.
Yeah, that's when like you're like, oh, okay, I've got I want to buy one share in the dick sucking factory, but I only want to do it once the price hits $69. So if it's like at $75, it doesn't happen until like your trade doesn't go through until it hits 69.
Right. You can buy that trade even when it's not $69.
Yes. Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I know.
Nice.
I saw what you did there.
I saw what you did there, my friend.
So Robinhood is basically they are taking a bit of a circular route to deliver your investment to what you think there's. So you say you want to invest in what do you want? What's a nice thing to invest in? CBD oils. You want to invest in Tesla. You want to invest in something
Ford.
else. Ford,
Ford,
okay,
Apple,
fine.
Tesla, any of those blue chip stocks.
So you say you want to invest in something cool or fun, or you want to invest in Ponzi scheme, whatever you want to do. You go through Robinhood and it says, I want to invest this now, right? they have a duty as a broker-dealer to actually do it. That's what best execution basically means. To
Yes.
actually execute the trade in a reasonably timely manner. And so Robinhood just got in big boy trouble last week from 2 separate regulators for failing to follow their best execution. So last year they got FINRA, got them for $1.25 million. Last week, the Securities and Exchange Commission fined them for $65 million
Whoa.
Wow.
for these best execution trades. Okay, so Robinhood's growing a crazy amount, especially during the pandemic. You're like sitting all alone by yourself. You have nothing to do. Can't see your friends. May as well get on Robinhood and do some crazy shit because the economy is in free fall, and I want to just see if I can make some money while I'm working from home. That's the Robinhood person, right? And
Yes.
they basically there's this process that's a violation of the best execution rule called payment for order flow. Okay, Robinhood, one of Robinhood's selling points to customers was that trading was commission free, but due in large part to its unusually high payment for order flow rates, Robinhood customers' orders were executed at prices that were inferior to other brokers' prices. Okay, so what that means is that you say, I want to buy Tesla at $420 on June 9th. Okay. And that's what you want to, because that's when it's good. That's when it's really, really good. But they take their goddamn sweet time. And by the time that actually the transaction, because they're going through all these intermediaries, okay, payment for order flow people, by the time it actually gets to Tesla, it's actually $100. And so you're losing money through that. Okay.
Yeah, it's important to notice, like, what David's saying basically amounts to just like slow trading, and I can attest to that because I remember when I first got the Robinhood app, you would be like, "Oh, I'm going to buy an app, or I'm going to buy a stock now." So you place an order for a stock, and what happens is it doesn't say like you've bought this stock or whatever. It like adds it into your sum total of money that you have invested, but there's like language in it that basically says when we will, like, you will get this soon, or this has been bought and will be executed soon. It doesn't concretely say, okay, you're done, you've done this.
Yeah.
It's especially weird if you buy a stock in off hours between, like 5 p.m. and like,
Right.
in the middle of the night, because then they're like, once the market opens, we'll buy this stock for you. And you're just sort of like, wait a minute, what? How is it? I thought this was like an instant thing. It's just not that simple, essentially.
Right. But it's an app, so it has to give you that instant gratification in some way. But that's just misleading, and it ends up hurting you because if the stock market opens 3 days later when they actually execute the trade, it's a totally different thing. You can really lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Really, really quick. I mean, like, think about what happened in March, between like March 10th and March 20th, maybe March 30th. Like,
Yeah.
we had one of the single biggest collapses of the stock market in 2 weeks that we had since the Great Depression, if not even steeper. I mean, it was gargantuan as people went to a nationwide lockdown, right? Robinhood, if they didn't execute on March 10th and they waited till March 20th, I mean, you could lose so much money. Absolutely. And what they're doing is they're taking their sweet time because they're making money every step of the way, because they're just taking their sweet time to actually to go through these intermediaries and do these other little extra trades along the way. So that's what they've been doing. They got in trouble for that. Then there was a third action that was filed against Robinhood Financial last week. Okay, this one came from the Secretary of State from Massachusetts. Okay, this guy, he's kind of a notorious Secretary of State. His name is William Galvin. He's been, I think he's elected because he's been in office for like 20 years, and he's gotten a big reputation on Wall Street as being very hard on Wall Street. All right, William Galvin, and also in Massachusetts, they enacted a new rule which says this happened this year. So like it just was enacted maybe in May of this year, that a broker dealer owes a fiduciary duty to its customers for any advice that it gives. So if you are a broker dealer and you're offering any advice, you owe fiduciary just like an investment advisor does.
Yeah, they're holding them to the same standard.
Yeah. So this is the first jurisdiction in the country that's ever implemented this. Okay. And they immediately, the way that who they go after first is Robinhood, sending a huge statement, because Robinhood is like, clearly very bullish, making a lot of money. Everyone's seeing them as like the Google and the Tesla, but of like, retail trading. They kind of have this like niche of like huge growth potential, basically. And the first one that they go after is Robinhood, and they file a complaint. They haven't alleged how much money it's going to be, but it's only for Massachusetts customers, okay? And it's only for so long as the fiduciary rule has basically been in place in Massachusetts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's goofy because it's that weird state by state shit.
It is state by state shit.
States' rights, baby.
So as
super important.
I mean, it's kind of that's what the whole states. That's how that's how some of these state regulators do shit. Is when you have the federal government be a floor, right, and then you can have the states make things more progressive within their own little jurisdictions, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, in Massachusetts alone, this is the vague idea of what we're expecting, right? They're thinking, as of December 8th, 2020, Robinhood had 486,000 and more Massachusetts customer accounts, okay, with a total value of $1.6 billion.
Woo!
That's what the complaint says, okay? So they are alleging a violation of the fiduciary duty, again, higher than any other duty that any other broker-dealer in the country owes, just for their Massachusetts customers alone. So they're growing. Robinhood's doing really well, but what they're trying to get them on is the gamification specifically. Okay?
Yeah. This is a real thing. This is a real phenomenon that happens. Again, as a Robinhood person, as a person who has the app, I got caught up in the same thing. When I first got it, I was like, oh, I'll get a couple stocks or whatever, and I didn't know anything about investing. I didn't have nearly as big of an issue as like I think some people did, where they're investing like thousands of dollars. But I took the sort of naive approach that people, if you've never had any experience with the stock market, people will take. Like I was like, oh, I want to invest in like, this company because I think they're good at what they do, which while pure and noble or whatever is as David has said, just not how the stock market works. The stock market is random, it's chaotic, and it's getting more like zombified as time goes on. So if you're me and you edit the podcast on Adobe Audition and you're like, oh, I like Adobe, I should invest in Adobe, and then 3 weeks later Adobe loses $100 or something like that. And you're like, but why? Why did it lose $100? It's a web-based editing platform. It should be making money. That's not how the stock market works.
Mood ring, baby. It's a mood ring.
It's a mood ring. It doesn't matter, I mean,
it's a vibe, son.
It is
a vibe.
Dude, all you have to know about the best representation of the stock market is just Tesla's stock. Tesla's stock, which has gone from like, I think last year this time it was around like $200-ish. Elon Musk joked about taking it private again at $420 because he's a plebe.
God damn it.
But then the stock market's so insane right now that not only did it jump past $420, it went to like $600, $800, $900, and then dipped back down to like $700 or $650. Like that's too erratic,
I mean, Elon Musk is like one of the most erratic, insane leaders of a a company I've seen in a very long time. I mean, not since Trump, as someone just like he's just Gen X Trump. I just like there's no other way to describe him. But like if investing in one single company is crazy because you have an Elon Musk character or there's some random thing that happens to that company and that's completely out of your control, completely out of control of the product itself. Okay. Let's say like, I don't know, you want to invest in Tesla, but all of a sudden lithium becomes incredibly expensive. Something outside of the realm of anything that you would have expected. All of a sudden your Tesla shares go down because people are hedging against it, or Elon Musk just openly violates an SEC law by tweeting that he wants to take the company private on Twitter. Okay. Any regulatory action, or they get sued for racism in their factories. Like all of these things could happen with a company that no one follows. Like no one has the time to really follow up on every single thing, every single minutia, every single element of society that could impact a company, unless you're paid to do it or unless you're retired and bored. Okay. And so you're just going to end up getting subject to these crazy whims and these crazy ups and downs of investing in individual stocks. That's the whole point of having an index fund, is just invest in a wash. Just invest in a broad swath of companies, and you're going to mitigate your risk, and you're going to have steady performance year over end. And that's going to be the whole thing. And you're going to do much better over the long term than what you would have done. I mean, it's the same thing with like private equity. It's the same thing with like if you want to invest in like there's been multiple studies that have come out this year that like private equity firms get beat by index funds. Private equity is like, a private fund that only rich people can invest in, right? But they charge insane fees. They and fees that no normal person has ever expected, and their entire 20%, stuff like that, and they in the long term, they just end up making just as much money as an index fund does.
Yeah, they pull the Warren Buffett and just S&P 500.
Right. So I want to go over quickly some of the gamification things that it does.
I love games. Is it like Animal Crossing?
Yeah. When you execute a trade, confetti goes down. I don't know if you ever saw this, Danny, but if you actually invest in something, they'll give you a little thing.
Yeah,
I love that. That's like
Congratulations.
whenever I write happy birthday to somebody, my phone vibrates and does like a little rumble pack thing with fireworks. And so I just want to write happy birthday to people even when it's not their birthday, for that feeling.
For the feeling. It's like the birthday posts,
I'm hooked on a feeling, you might say.
Yeah. Not only does it do that, the confetti thing that you just mentioned, David, but there was it was a big deal when Robinhood eventually opened up its market slowly to cryptocurrencies.
Ooh, love a good crypto story. That's the future, guys.
And that was especially goofy because the Robinhood the Robinhood interface. It's like it's fairly streamlined. It looks nice. It's whatever.
Yeah.
It
looks like a VC firm. It just looks like venture capital.
Great user experience.
Yeah, if the stock is going up, it's green. If it's gone down, it's red. But and this is very funny, when they started doing cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and what have you, there was a special little section for them, and because those stocks are not whim to 9 to 5, regular work hours and whatever, they change all the time. And when you clicked on that area, the sort of up and down arrows turned into more of like a Tron looking setup where it was like crypto. It's different. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm playing Metal Mario now. Yeah.
Yeah. You were T1000 Mario for sure. Yeah.
So Robinhood also, this is from the Massachusetts Complaint. There's this new cash management feature with an early access waitlist, basically. So there's this new feature. You got to get on a waitlist, right? And if you interact daily with the app, you get moved up along in the wait list. Okay?
Mm.
And if you don't, you get moved down the wait list. If you don't play, if you don't trade, and this is the thing. It's like all these apps encourage people to spend as much time as possible doing it. But when you're literally encouraging people to execute trades, that is a violation of a broker-dealer's duty. Like you can't incentivize people to make a trade because that is not a good if it's not a good idea for them to do so. That's even at broker-dealers like lower than fiduciary standard, you still can't do that. You still can't say like, "Hey man, like I'm going to give you an extra $50 for every single time you invest in my company." Like you just can't. Does that make sense? Like
you're rapidly degenerating into gambling at that point. I mean, the stock market is gambling on its own.
Yes.
Now you're double gambling.
You're
you
double
know?
gambling. Yeah, so I mean, they you get moved up the wait list for being able to continue to execute these trades, and the more trading you do is not necessary. It is not that you are going to be making more money every time you do a trade, but your broker dealer will absolutely make money every single time you do a trade. So if they reward you for giving them more money every single time, it is a feedback loop that is exactly destructive. I mean, that there's no other way to put it, right? And so the more trades you do, they're going to make a whole lot. I mean, it's like the equivalent of, and then sorry, let me back up for a sec. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about that. There is another feature of the Robinhood app that is very strange, where they've recommended trades based off of activity that you've done beforehand, and you can't. And they claim that these are not recommendations, right? If you are a broker dealer and you're making a recommendation, you are subject to this best interest recommendation thing. Okay, this rule.
This is just some advice. I mean, there's a term we like to use that's legally binding called a recommendation. This is just my 2 cents.
Yeah. It's called the My 2 Cents feature.
Yeah. So if you do that, which happens all the time with a broker, like if you talk to any broker, they will give you advice. It's like sometimes they give you one-off advice, sometimes they have an entire strategy, but they still sometimes will be registered as a broker dealer, not as a registered investment advisor.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do that, there are still rules around the ways that you recommend products. And the Massachusetts complaint compares it to this. This is no different. Like the way that Robinhood has these recommended apps, these recommended securities to invest in, this is no different from a broker-dealer agent handing a list of securities to a customer, pretending to be surprised when the customer purchases securities from that list, and then proclaiming that he made no recommendations to the customer.
Yeah. They're traipsing into an area that in another app, a non-financial app, it might even make sense. It's like, hey, do you like fucking this Bumblebee app? Well, maybe you'd like, this app about flowers. I mean, like that's
Right.
that's harmless otherwise, but you can't do that with
Dude,
financial shit.
My favorite scene in Training Day is when Denzel Washington is he's like, ooh, look at this, it's weed, and he hands it to Ethan Hawke, and he's like, smoke that now. If you're gonna be undercover, you got to smoke this now. And Ethan Hawke's like, I'm a cop, I shouldn't smoke this, but he's like, I'm your supervisor, do it. And he smokes it, and he's like, oh yeah, didn't you smell that? That's actually PCP. I guess you love getting wet. And now Ethan Hawke is like tripping balls in Shotgun. And he's like, I can't believe this. I just smoked PCP and it's your fault. And he's like, what do you mean your fault? I didn't tell you to do that. That was your decision. Live with it.
Yeah. It's,
Anyway, Robinhood.
I swear to
No.
God, that's like identical to a Chappelle Show sketch. Isn't it like the Wayne Brady? Isn't that the Wayne Brady one? Like,
No, no, Denzel. It's like the app is like Denzel. It's just like, all right, I
You're
see
wet
you like
now.
Apple. I see you like Apple. Maybe you'd enjoy investing in Intel. All right.
Oh, you just lost all that money? I didn't tell you to do that. Live with your decision.
Okay. All right, Denzel. Okay. Yeah.
absolutely insane. So there are. I mean, it's just lying, right? That's all it really is, and they're making money off of every single time that they do that. So it's like training day, but instead of lying to them about smoking PCP, they're the PCP dealer.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Also, there's like a crazy double standard too, because if you delve into the app, you'll find warning settings. It'll basically be like, do not day trade. Do not day trade, or we will deactivate you. And it's just sort of like, what? You want it both ways? You want me to make as many executions as possible, but I can't go silly goose on you and, like buy like 4 shares of Apple at $400 at 9 a.m. and then when it's at like $402, sell it. What is it? Is it this way or that way? Come on, let me be a silly goose. Come on.
Because they know you can't day trade because you're not actually buying it that day. It's
Exactly.
Just like ultimately,
Exactly.
They may be like doing it under the guise of investor protection, but they're also, they're not actually executing at 9 a.m. They're not actually, and they're not executing that trade at 5 p.m. that day either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then there's also another really scary thing about the Robinhood platform that's been going on a lot. Because of its high volume, they've shut down a bunch. The app has actually just completely gone black at certain really, really volatile moments in the stock market. And this is, and so there's, I think the Massachusetts example gives this one discussion about on March 2nd, okay? One of the most notable outages occurred March 2nd and March 3rd, 2020. On March 2nd, the Dow Jones Industrial Average experienced what was the largest point gain in its history at that time. However, Robinhood's trading platform collapsed at market opening on March 2nd, 2020, leaving its millions of customers unable to benefit from the historic market gains. The collapsed platform remained inoperative for the entire day of March 2nd and part of March 3rd.
Whoa, the whole day?
Yeah. Robinhood knew or should have known well before March 2020 that the infrastructure of its trading platform was incapable of supporting its rapidly expanding customer base. However, Robinhood was plagued by outages or disruptions every month throughout the remaining of the year, including 6 in April 2020, 15 in June 2020, and 7 in August 2020. Robinhood even admitted that the outages and disruptions on its trading platform were in part the result of lack of sufficient infrastructure. Despite its inability to maintain an adequate infrastructure, Robinhood continues to invite more and more customers to open accounts, and once these accounts are open, encourages customers to use the platform constantly.
Yep. This is like, meanwhile, in the background, you just have a Mr. Burns-esque character with a antique, bespoke, beautiful brass stock ticker, just sort of like, fucking cucks. I will never go down. But it's true. I mean, again, it is the myth of the internet that it is just this, mystical, magical thing that never stops. It is not connected to reality. There are no wires, when in fact, again, the internet is just literally copper, sometimes going underneath a giant copper tube, essentially, or electron. What's that thing? A fiber optic cable going underneath the Atlantic Ocean. But that's how Europe has the internet connected to the United States internet. It is data centers the size of like 10 square blocks, with energy costs through the roof, because if you do not cool these places, they will catch fire. And they're just sort of like, no, you keep coming. It's not real. It's not real. Don't worry. There aren't actual costs to these things.
It's
you
in
know?
the cloud, baby.
Yeah, it's like if I were to impress anything upon anyone, it's that the cloud is the biggest advertising flip of this century. There is no such thing as a cloud. It's literally a data center in the Dalles, Oregon, that is naturally aspirated because it's always 40 degrees there. Like that's the only way these things work, and Robinhood just gets to get away with that because they're like, no, more.
This
Keep
is
we'll
fintech,
keep doing
baby.
this.
This is
Yeah.
fintech. Like when you talk about the convergence of the financial sector and the tech sector, you're running into like severe technical issues, huge disruptive forces that completely upend the way that people live their lives. The digital revolution, meeting just like standard like meat and potatoes financial rules about things you're not supposed to do. Because if you do them, you are going to hurt millions of people. Like if you like disruption has consequences. You know, like if you want to completely upend the way that everything operates, there are still people that are on the other end of that. And you can't execute these like insane trading schemes on your app just because you can. You're still going to run into a financial regulator saying like, no, you just can't
Stop.
do that.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to make the rule, what they did in Massachusetts, they said, actually, we're making the rule even stricter than it used to be beforehand. So fucking do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're this is just like in the turn of the century when cars were just invented and there was no such thing as a stoplight or any of these things, and it's just like you just had stories of it's like, yes, another dozen people died today because a motorist was, and just like destroyed a bunch of people, and
Because a 10-year-old who drunk on his breakfast beer decided to drive his car 20 miles an hour and hit like 4 donkeys and turn over an apple cart.
Yeah, it's just and like and in the background, the inventor of this is just like, what? I didn't do anything. It's just like, no, this is what regulation is supposed to prevent.
Yeah.
is like needless suffering.
Yeah, and it's not like a new concept. Just because something is new technology does not mean that it is a new concept in the universe.
Yeah.
It's not a paradigm shift, bro.
Nah. Robinhood is really not. It's just like transferring exactly what we used to do from our desktop onto our phone, or like from a phone call to the desktop, or like going to the company to doing it on the phone. Like these technological changes, yes, it's easier. You don't have to call your broker anymore. You can just do it on your app or whatever, but it is still the same principle.
Yeah, honestly, you know what? Again, the convenience, whatever, that's a cool thing, but like, I don't know, man, embrace tradition, reject modernity. I'd love to get on the fucking horn with a giant phone from 1980, just be like,
Jerry, how's your fat wife? All right, I need 1,700 shares of Ford. That's right. All right, I'll send you a Christmas goose.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I mean, there is a good question of like, what is the right solution to this sort of stuff, right? Because like this has clearly hurt a bunch of people. I mean, there was one story of someone who did Robinhood so much and then they lost so much money because there was a glitch in the Robinhood app that made it seem like they lost a huge swath of money. This person killed themselves.
yeah, they walked in front of a train. Yeah.
It's so scary. So it's like, what do you do with this sort of stuff? I don't know. It's like it's a real question if you're thinking about challenging capitalism in a fundamental way. What do you do with the stock market and trading, and what's an alternative that makes this better and makes this I don't know.
I don't know. I think we'll leave. I mean, we can leave it sort of open ended there, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how you define things, right? If you're going to abolish all private property, then like there's no answer to this. This is just not.
Sure.
This is going to be an artifice of capitalism that will never it will just become obsolete. We will just never remember it. But if you're thinking about maintaining some sort of private property but having more public ownership, you just don't have people investing in individual companies. Just have everyone in an index fund, get everyone in a pension, okay? Fucking get in a union so you can get a pension, and then your pension is managed by an investment advisor who manages a diverse portfolio for millions of people sometimes, and that has a broad exposure to various different market exposures.
When you invest in a broad portfolio, it's kind of generalized, and you have companies in there though that you might find unethical. Like what if there's a private prison in your portfolio, or like a bullet maker, or gas boys, and you're just funding these petro oligarchs by investing in these funds.
Huge thing that people do all the time is like when you own one of the weird democratic quirks of capitalism is that when you own something, no matter how marginal it is, if you own a stock in something, to a degree, the Trump administration has made this harder, but to a degree, you can file what's called like a proxy statement saying that you don't support this, or you can divest from something because you don't support this practice, or you want to like have this mutual fund divest from fossil fuels or private prisons. It's this is the ESG kind of thing. And every year, all corporations who are publicly owned can have these sort of shareholder proposals where shareholders can say, we want this company to operate differently this way. Not binding things, but they can still say it, or you can divest from those sorts of things. You talk to your mutual fund person, and your mutual fund can have a mutual, like your mutual fund provider, like T. Rowe Price or Fidelity or whatever, can offer a mutual fund that doesn't invest in private prisons. They have screens now where you can screen out coal and whatever.
Less money in coal, more money in puppy mills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the future of 2021. There's still going to be a lot of suckers out there buying puppies.
Really
yeah.
Is.
There's gonna point of the moral of the story is it's just got to be obfuscated. Got to keep it clear, transparent.
Clear.
When you're buying the puppy, you got to see who's holding it. What you want to see, crazy lady. Remember, self-made sweater that says "I heart my doodle," or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Self-made sweater. You do not want to be buying a puppy from a guy wearing a Patagonia's fleece who says, "I'm about to make puppy buying more efficient." You don't want that. You don't want that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, this has been us, I guess.
Yeah.
And Gabe, this is your last
last for a while,
of you're taking some vacay, so we'll see you on the other side of the year. And we look forward to it, man. You enjoy your vacation, and that's all I got, guys.
Happy New Year to all of our friends in all of our screamers.
Yeah. I'll see you post my birthday, Gabe.
Happy bees,
Ooh,
Danny Phelps.
That's right.
Another Sagittarius or Capricorn? What are you?
I'm a Capricorn. Don't get it twisted, you
What's your
idiot.
birthday for anybody that wants to send gifts?
January 7th. Very something special is happening on the 7th too. I can't remember.
Your birthday.
I know.
That's the special thing.
You idiot.
Well, the gift that keeps on giving is write reviews for the podcast and give us 5 stars.
Yes.
And that will act as a gift for Danny.
Yeah. Write review, subscribe, all those things. Give to your local mutual aid organization. Give directly to people. People are really suffering these days. That's the best investment that we can ask for.
Don't give them a puppy though,
No,
because
no.
that is not going to help.
No.
That's a big money pit.
That's a money pit. That's a emotion pit. That's just a bad pit. It's not-
No,
a pit of-
it's no good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.